Achilles, the greatest hero of Greece, invincible in battle, but with a weakness that sealed his fate. Born to Thetis, a sea goddess, and Peleus, king of the Myrmidons, Achilles was destined for greatness. To make him invulnerable, Thetis dipped him into the river Styx, holding him by the heel, the only part of him untouched by the water. Trained by the centaur Chiron, Achilles grew into the most powerful warrior of Greece, renowned for his unmatched speed and fiery temper. Achilles led the Myrmidons into the Trojan War, but his pride made him unpredictable. After a clash with Agamemnon, he withdrew from battle, jeopardizing the Greek cause. When his closest friend, Patroclus, was killed by Hector, Achilles' grief and fury drove him back to battle. In a legendary duel, he defeated Hector, avenging his fate. Despite his strength, Achilles wasn't immortal. According to myth, he was struck by a poisoned arrow fired by Paris, hitting his heel, the only vulnerable spot on his body. Hector, the protector of Troy and a tragic hero. Among the great heroes of the Iliad, Hector stands out as the Prince of Troy, a symbol of courage, loyalty, and sacrifice, opposing the wrath and personal glory of Achilles. The son of Priam, king of Troy, and Queen Hecuba, Hector was the supreme commander of the Trojan army. He fought not for ambition, but to protect his city and family. He was a devoted husband to Andromache and a loving father to Astyanax. Their farewell before battle is one of the most moving moments in the Iliad, showcasing the human side of the great warrior. After killing Patroclus, Hector faced Achilles in an epic duel. Despite his courage and skill, he was defeated, marking the most tragic moment of his story. Hector was more than a warrior. He was the beating heart of Troy. His death marked the beginning of the city's downfall, but his sacrifice made him an eternal symbol of honor, family, and duty. Paris, the Trojan prince, the man whose choice sparked the greatest war in Greek mythology. Paris was chosen by Zeus to judge a beauty contest among the goddesses Hera, Athena, and Aphrodite. Each offered him a bribe, but Paris chose Aphrodite, who promised him the love of the most beautiful woman in the world, Helen. Paris traveled to Sparta, where he seduced Helen, the wife of Menelaus, and brought her to Troy. This act ignited the Trojan War, as the Greeks united to bring her back. Though not a great warrior like his brother Hector, Paris played a pivotal role as an archer. He is famously known for fatally wounding Achilles with a divine arrow guided by Apollo. Paris's own fate was sealed when he was struck by the poisoned arrows of Philoctetes. His death marked the beginning of the end for Troy. Ulysses, the king of Ithaca, is one of the cleverest and most legendary heroes in Greek mythology, known for his intelligence and epic adventures. During the Trojan War, Ulysses came up with one of the most famous strategies in history, the Trojan Horse. With this clever trick, the Greeks deceived the Trojans, infiltrated the city, and led to its fall. Ulysses wasn't just a warrior, but a wise leader. Despite rivalries with other heroes like Ajax, he earned the respect of warriors such as Achilles and Agamemnon. After the war, Ulysses embarked on an epic journey to return home. His odyssey, filled with monsters, gods, and impossible trials, made him a symbol of resilience and determination. Odysseus is remembered for his cunning, not only on the battlefield, but throughout his adventures, where he outsmarted divine beings and mortals alike to survive and complete his journey. Helen of Troy, the most beautiful woman in the world, known as the face that launched 1,000 ships. Promised to Paris by Aphrodite during the judgment of Paris, Helen left her husband Menelaus, the king of Sparta, and fled to Troy, sparking the Trojan War. The Greeks, led by Menelaus and Agamemnon, united to retrieve Helen. Her beauty became a symbol of both inspiration and destruction as the war raged for 10 years. Some say Helen loved Paris, while others claim she was a victim, longing to return home. Her presence in Troy fueled tensions on both sides. After Paris's death, Helen married his brother Deiphobus, but during Troy's fall, she betrayed him to the Greeks and reunited with Menelaus. Helen's story is a blend of beauty, betrayal, and tragedy, making her one of the most fascinating figures in Greek mythology. Agamemnon, king of Mycenae, known for his pride and authority, he led the Achaean army against Troy. Son of Atreus, Agamemnon inherited the throne of Mycenae. His family was cursed with a cycle of vengeance and tragedy, shaping his fateful journey. As the supreme leader of the Greek alliance, Agamemnon united the kings and armies of Greece to avenge the abduction of Helen, wife of his brother Menelaus, by the Trojan prince Paris. To appease the goddess Artemis and gain favorable winds to sail to Troy, Agamemnon tragically sacrificed his daughter Iphigenia, a decision that haunted him forever. His arrogance led to a bitter feud with Achilles, Greece's greatest warrior, after claiming the slave Briseis. This rift weakened the Greek forces during the war. After 10 years of war and the fall of Troy, Agamemnon returned home only to meet a tragic end. He was murdered by his wife Clytemnestra and her lover Aegisthus in revenge for Iphigenia's death. Priam, the last king of Troy, is one of the most iconic figures of the Iliad. A symbol of wisdom, paternal love, and tragic loss, he led Troy during its downfall. The son of Laomedon, Priam became king after rebuilding the city destroyed by Heracles. His name, meaning redeemed, reflects his role as a beacon of hope for Troy. As ruler, Priam sought to keep the city united. However, the abduction of Helen by his son Paris ignited the war, bringing Troy into a devastating conflict with the Greeks. Among his 50 sons, Hector was his favorite. After Hector's death at the hands of Achilles, Priam showed extraordinary courage by pleading with Achilles to return his son's body. This scene is one of the Iliad's most emotional moments. Priam embodies the tragedy of a king who lost everything: his city, his children, and his hope. His death during Troy's fall marked the end of an era and the collapse of the Trojan civilization. Aeneas, Trojan prince and son of Anchises and the goddess Aphrodite, is the protagonist of Virgil's Aeneid. A symbol of piety and destiny, he leads the Trojans to a new beginning. After Troy's destruction, Aeneas flees, carrying his father Anchises on his shoulders and holding his son Ascanius by the hand. This act of love and duty defines him as a devoted hero. Aeneas leads the surviving Trojans on a long, arduous journey across the Mediterranean, facing storms and divine challenges, including the wrath of Juno, who despises the Trojans. During his journey, Aeneas meets Queen Dido in Carthage. They share an intense love, but Aeneas leaves her to fulfill his destiny, leading to Dido's tragic death. Finally, Aeneas reaches Latium, where he lays the foundations for what will become Rome. He engages in decisive battles to establish a new homeland for the Trojans.